going to tell you stories coming from witnesses who saw the Mothman. This is a creature of urban legend who was seen many times near the city of Point Pleasant, West Virginia back in the 60s. The interesting thing, though, is that just a couple weeks ago, on November 20th to be exact, people again reported that they saw a Mothman. The local TV station showed a picture that they received from a driver who was driving into the city and saw an unknown creature with huge wings which was jumping from one tree to another. Of course, based on this picture, it is really hard to make any conclusions due to the fact that with today's technology, images can be easily adjusted, edited, or photoshopped, which makes us wonder whether this image is real or fake. Even though this monster could be just an urban legend, the stories that come from the witnesses are really interesting. That is why I decided to tell these stories with all the details we could gather. So let's begin. Back in the 1960s, near the city of Point Pleasant, West Virginia, a mysterious creature was witnessed. It was said that it had a wingspan of 11 feet in length. Local residents called it the Mothman. In 2001, a movie came out by the name Mothman. But let's move show business aside and talk about witnesses who claimed that they saw a Mothman in real life. Case number 1, witnessed by two couples, the Scarberries and the Mallets. On November 15, 1966, two young couples were joyriding around in a 1957 Chevy near a remote hangout spot known as the TNT area just north of Point Pleasant when they suddenly saw two giant red eyes. One of the couples was Steve and Mary Mallet, the other was Linda and Roger Scarberry. They saw a humanoid creature go around the corner near the old powerhouse. It appeared to have its wing caught in a guide wire near the road. The creature then managed to free its wing. It didn't run, but wobbled like it couldn't keep its balance. Linda described the creature as having circular, fiery red eyes and a body just like a man, but with wings. The creature was about 7 feet tall, with the wings folded against its back. Half man, half monster. You could even see the muscles in its legs, she said. The couples couldn't believe what they had seen. Terrified, they looked at each other for a moment and then quickly drove back to the main highway, Route 62. Linda was yelling for Roger to hurry. The couple saw the creature sitting on a hill by a large billboard as they went around a curve. As soon as the headlights hit it, it was gone. It spread its wings and went straight up into the air. As they continued to try to escape the creature, they drove along a straight stretch of road and were going anywhere from 100 to 120 miles an hour, but the creature was still able to follow them. They saw it in the back window, and they saw the shadow go across the car as it flew. They couldn't get away from it. They could also hear its wings hitting the top of the car as they drove. It squeaked like a big mouse, said Mary Mallet. They were only able to get away from the Mothman when they reached the edge of Point Pleasant. The creature disappeared, veering off into a field as they drove into town. They went to the sheriff's office and told Sheriff George Johnson and Deputy Miller Halstead what they saw. The police didn't ignore them or laugh at them, since it was not the first capable of reporting a mysterious creature in that area. Here are some sightings of the creature that the police already had in their reports. In 1961, a human-looking figure was seen by William Len while he was hunting. He saw this creature standing near the road in Ohio with large wings and red demonic eyes. The creature spread its wings and took off up into the air. In 1965, a little boy claimed that he saw an angel. The way he described this angel was similar to the Mothman's description. On October 12, 1966, 5 employees of a funeral home claimed to see a mysterious creature sitting on a nearby tree. At first they thought it was just a man, but when the man spread his wings and flew over their heads, they realized that they were wrong. On October 15th of the same year, Newell Partridge, who lived 90 miles away from Point Pleasant, was watching TV in the evening. The TV show that he was watching was interrupted with static. His dog started to bark frantically. He took his flashlight and went outside to check. He pointed the flashlight in the direction of his cabin and saw a creature with enormous red eyes. His dog ran right towards the creature, and Partridge ran into the house. Since this night, he has slept with a rifle next to him. His dog disappeared, and he never saw it again. So, let's get back to our first witnesses that I spoke about in the beginning of this video. On the day after reporting the Mothman to the police, Mr. and Mrs. Wesley got together with their friends, the Bennetts, at their friend's house, which was located near that TNT area. That evening, after eating dinner, they went back to the car and saw a man lying right next to their car. The man slowly stood up and looked right into their faces with its red, bright, demonic eyes. They ran back into the house and closed the door. The Mothman came to the house and for several minutes was seen staring at them through the glass windows. They called the police, but when the police arrived, the Mothman was gone. During the next 3 months, more than 100 people reported seeing the Mothman in that area of Point Pleasant. After a short gap in time, more witnesses saw the Mothman appearing in the same area. On January 11, 1967, people saw the Mothman flying above this silver bridge. This last case of someone witnessing the Mothman was also near the silver bridge, and it happened one day before the bridge collapsed. 46 people died during this tragedy. People started to think the Mothman could be the reason for the bridge collapse, or maybe it was trying to warn people about the bridge's imminent collapse. The bridge was built in 1928 and connected the cities of Point Pleasant in West Virginia and Gallipolis in Ohio. On December 15, 1967, the Silver Bridge collapsed while it was full of rush hour traffic, resulting in the deaths of 46 people. 2 of the victims were never found. Investigation of the wreckage pointed to the cause of the collapse being the failure of a single eye-bar in its suspension change, due to a small defect 0.1 inch deep. Analysis showed that the bridge was carrying much heavier loads than it had originally been designed for, and that it was poorly maintained. That is why people started to think the Mothman appeared before the tragedy in order to warn people. Sightings of the Mothman appearing beyond the Point Pleasant area. The Mothman has also been witnessed in other areas. The New York Times, dated September 12, 1980, had an article where journalists took interviews from residents of New Jersey who saw a Mothman flying above a field. It was flying 1 mile above the ground, spreading its huge bat-looking wings. This creature looked like a human. This black figure was clearly visible in the bright blue sky, and its red eyes looked terrifying. How do people describe the Mothman? The Mothman has a height of approximately 7 feet. The body of the Mothman looks just like a human's body. It is covered with black or dark brown short hair. Witnesses claim that it flies in a bat-like fashion. They also claim that it can fly vertically straight up. They say the Mothman screams like a rat or a woman. Very often people claim that it can hypnotize a person. Witnesses say that when they look directly at him, they get dizzy and blurry in their eyes and can't make out details of the Mothman's face. So what could the Mothman be? Let's get to the theories. Biological hypothesis. Some people believe that the Mothman could be a mutant of a crane. As you can see on this picture, the head of this crane has enormous red spots on its head, and the wingspread of this bird can be up to 7 feet. This bird can also stay in the air for a long time and makes loud rat-sounding screams. The hypothesis of the Indian curse. This theory was discussed in the book that was written by John Kill. He claims that in Point Pleasant there is a paranormal area that has an opening from the dead world to the real world. The theory ties into the French and Indian Wars, where the Europeans were conquering Indians' territory. 200 years before the Mothman appeared, this place was supposedly cursed by the Indians. A chief of one of the Indian tribes was taken hostage, and then he was killed with his son because European soldiers thought he had participated in the killing of a soldier. When he was dying, he cursed Point Pleasant and its nearby territories. Hypothesis by UFO theorist. This theory supposes that the Mothman is an alien. The hypothesis of biological experiments. This theory supposes that in the area of Point Pleasant, a new biological weapon was tested which caused hallucinations in the local residents. The hypothesis of biological mistake. This theory supposes that the Mothman was created in a secret laboratory. Supporters of this theory believe that 3 Mothmen escaped, but eventually they were recaptured. Meanwhile, local residents have made a legend out of the Mothman. There is a Mothman museum and a research laboratory investigating the Mothman. Every year in September, a festival dedicated to the Mothman is held in this city. On the main street, there is actually a Mothman statue. That's it for this video. This is all the information that I could find out about this mysterious creature, the Mothman. Oh, by the way, here is a funny drunk Mothman that was caught on a dash cam. Have a good night. Thank you.